Welcome back, everybody, to the Quake Pro League. This is week 8. I am 40 Lions, joined by Flea, and we'd like to collectively apologize about what we just showed you. It was brutal. Flea, we're going to get into our first featured match of the day, and there's no wheat, there's no parents, so we could say whatever we like, but psygib versus nosfa, how do you feel about it?
Interesting matchup, right? We've seen some matches that involve two players earlier today that hadn't played each other once in the entirety of the Quake Pro League, right? Razy versus Strong Stage. But now we're getting into some matches with players that couldn't be more familiar with one another. psygib versus nosfa. 40, they have played a staggering 10 times over the history of the Quake Pro League, 6 of which have been won by psygib, 4 by nosfa, but the most recent one went in favor of nosfa, the Brazilian lightning in a bottle. But first, psygib, a man who's had not the easiest of seasons so far. 1 win, I believe against Zip it was, but 6 losses, so currently ranked 12th on the global standings.
A little bit brutal of a road for psygib this season, but he's played well before. I don't think this is the psygib that we're used to seeing. Obviously, he's in a bit of a slump, having a hard time this season. I think his ability to play with Rockets and LG, first of all, he's made me grab the bucket way too many times. I think it was 2-3 weeks ago when I was casting him versus I don't even remember who, but it was just Rocket City. So his mechanics are on point. It's just a matter of whether the rest of his game can show up. nosfa on the other side, lightning in a bottle, as you mentioned before, kind of splashed on the scene the same way as Maxter. Very flashy plays, not afraid to play with swagger. But the issue is if he can impose that kind of swagger on his opponent, whether he gets choked out or not. So we'll see these two going head to head. You said they played 10 times, 6 in favor of psygib, but nosfa's won the most recent as we take a look at his run this season so far. Not too bad, doing pretty well, all things considered. And we will see if he can keep that up against psygib. I feel like it's kind of anyone's game. It's been very back and forth given the history between these two. And I'm very excited to, in a minute, see the breakdown between kind of champ picks, maps, what we have in store. And for those unbelievably horrible people in chat who are like, why is this a featured match? Because I said so. I pick them, all right? If you hate me, email me. I am 40 Lions picks featured matches at idon'treallycarewhatyoutthink.com/signupnow.php. Anyways, let's get into the pick bands right now and see kind of what we have in store between these two. It should be a good one. I'm assuming no Keel because I'm a broken shell of a man. Molten Falls, Corrupted Keep, and then Awoken. And as always, Fleas, multiple of you, can you please run me through the champs? I appreciate it.
Sure thing. Starting off Molten Falls, Nyx again. Seen her being played on this map quite often today. psygib will be running her with the Ghost Walk, the Invisibility, and nosfa will be running Slash. Probably the single most common pick, I would say. A very popular pick, at the least for this map, just because of the speed that she can bring in these long hallways. Map 2, Corrupted Keep, we're getting Ranger, seen him plenty of times today, versus Ison. First time we're getting Ison, first time we're seeing the turret in action during today's stream. So that means that nosfa has got the mobility, he's got the orb, can reposition very easily, and has got that burst damage. But psygib has got that extra source of damage, a source of information, kind of a way to distract nosfa, divide his attention between himself and that turret that he has to focus on. Plus the turret has seen some changes in recent patches, so that could prove to be interesting as well. And then finally, last map of the series is going to be Awoken. Once again, Athena coming out to play. Seems that the nerfs haven't really impacted her pick rate, at least not on this map, whereas nosfa will counter with the Doomslayer.
Gotta love to see it. I love the Athena picks coming out. Specifically for me, I'm interested in that second matchup. Ranger versus Ison should be really good. As you mentioned, the turret has some slight adjustments. Can be an absolute nightmare if you get caught up in a trap. It's all about where psygib wants to place it and how he wants to set the ambush. But as always, one of my favorite questions, Flea, who do you think is going to be able to take this set?
Difficult question, 40. I feel like this matchup is always so much fun because it is a total brawl, right? Both of these players are at their core brawlers. LG, Rocket, Super Shotgun, it's their bread and butter, and it works out so nicely. It makes for some very, very fun games. Now, looking at the match history and their performance, especially in this season, I feel like nosfa has a bit of an edge, looking at the picks in the bands as well. But psygib could definitely surprise us here.
Yeah, I could see that. Taking a look at the predictions and seeing what chat thinks, 83% in favor of nosfa, at least for map number 1. Firmly in favor of the Brazilian. We will see how that plays out. Again, rich history between these two players, should be a fantastic match. And I feel like we should say, like, if nosfa wins, one of us gets a Brazilian wax on LAN. I don't know. We'll come up with something crazy. But we will see. We're going to get into map number 1 shortly. Somehow I feel like that would hurt me a lot more than you. No disrespect. I'm just saying I'm rocking a lot more. I don't know. You're smooth as a dolphin. Anyways, we're going to get into map number 1 here shortly. It's going to be a good one. A great set between these two. We're going to see if psygib can kind of keep the gas on in terms of the history, make it a 7th win in 11 sets between these two. But as you mentioned, nosfa won the most recent, so maybe he's on a hot streak given this history.
See, this is why we need DJ Wheat, right? By the end of the day, 40 just becomes increasingly unhinged.
Yeah.
So we need Wheat.
Nobody knows how tired I am and how much caffeine I've had, but we're live on map number 1. That's what matters the most here. As nosfa, quick start with that slash, grabbing the LG, and double back to rockets as well, and a tactical delay on that mega to add a little something something.
I love the tactical delay by both players doing the exact same thing for the exact same amount of time. So ultimately, both items are still perfectly in sync. That's a lot of tribal and some more. 130 points of tribal damage just like that. psygib has to pop that ghost walk just to stay alive. And there we go, the delay coming into force. nosfa showing up a little too early.
Oh,
and he should catch psygib. Yeah.
What?
psygib somehow walks away with a frag. I figured nosfa had it in the bag, but he just came within touching distance. And then the super shotgun reigns supreme.
Yeah, there's no rules. You can LG into shotgun. That's a hell of a combo, and that's exactly what happened right there from psygib, saying, you know what, I could just use the buckshot for this. So that's something nosfa has to be very, very aware of going forward, especially as these are 2 lights. That's probably the most efficient finishing weapon for these two when you're up close like that. And we'll see if nosfa keeps that in the back of his mind going forward. But for now, psygib, fantastic display there for frag number 1. Able to secure heavy rather easily, and also gets good damage off those 2 rockets. nosfa just overextending, trying to get that rail damage, and pays the price.
psygib crouch walking around the map. I think he just heard the small armor spawn behind him, something he doesn't need with nosfa. Sure as hell does. nosfa, though, playing a careful game, very reserved. Doesn't want to overextend, doesn't want to show his face anywhere he can't afford to be. Now both players meeting up top of heavy. nosfa wants this. Can he drop down and secure it? Lands a nice rail. Rocket coming out, just barely misses. And psygib will actually be the one to get away with the most stack after that engagement, but a little bit slow, I feel, on the dismount of that bounce pad. Didn't quite get the height that he wanted, and nosfa was able to walk away with a mega, completely uncontested.
Nice and slow here. Almost times the rocket to perfection. Good vertical rail. He's going to drop down. nosfa wants to steal this away, and I think psygib was able to burn that heavy, it looked like, right on the end there. Not sure, but nosfa ties it at 1.
Indeed, all tied up 1-1. Around 8 seconds between the items. Look at how aggressive nosfa is. Too aggressive, even. The first rocket kills his momentum, stops his dead in his tracks. Second one nails him to the wall. And this is exactly what I was talking about, 40. The brawl. These players, rockets, LG, super shoddy, they love it. And we're all here for that goodness.
Oh, absolutely. Saturday night primetime. Fisticuffs, let's go. Back and forth. 2-2 right now, 3 minutes in. You gotta love the aggression. That's what's beautiful about Quake. It's a little bit of everything. It's what you want to make of it. The rockets raining out from both players, and psygib right on the Nixon tide pops the Ghost Walk to avoid the damage. He's doing really well at utilizing that. Still a little bit weak. Trying to make it back to the heavy. This could be dangerous here as nosfa lying in wait. Decent rocket to get the information, but he just can't land a thick one. Wants a little bit more. Tri-bolt, pretty decent on the exit.
Yeah, still walks away with a nice bit of tribal damage. Here we go. nosfa barreling into the room, dodging rockets, LG on LG, but this should be going in favor of the Brazilian, as he did just secure the mega, and indeed, psygib unable to land any sort of damage before he dropped down dead as well. So that's given nosfa a lot of leeway to just force his way into this heavy room, but that LG is strong. psygib quickly adding up around 120 points of LG damage, and that is going to send nosfa back, unable to move forward into the room and make a play for heavy.
Not bad. psygib spamming a lot, and nosfa just taking a lot of chip damage. And again, as a light, you have to be very careful because that adds up quickly. Trying to get those rail angles and overextending bit by bit. So psygib doing a good job of laying down the defensive rockets, plasma, even pre-fire rails at a certain point, and definitely the tri-ball. And again, same situation here. nosfa weaving in and out, but catches a stray to the face, and now he's reeling. 50 HP. There's the rocket jump across, and they meet in the middle. Here's the follow-up. A little bit of LG, the rail on the way out, but it's not enough. psygib able to capitalize and tie it at 3.
Very opportune time to get that kill as well, just before the mega spawn. So any sort of damage that psygib took to his health, instantly shed it. And now we can make a quick move onto the heavy as well. And he will be able to secure both items. Perfectly split, 15 seconds between them. Good for psygib, because he knows that he is the slower champion, so giving himself a bit more leeway to work with kind of allows him to play around that speed advantage that nosfa has. And even if nosfa now were to switch control, it helps psygib. Just because of the lack of acceleration that he has, makes it more comfortable for him to kind of sneak in, steal away an item, regain control.
psygib dropping down for that heavy, taking a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. Stack still looks pretty good. Both players with their abilities ready, as the next fight will be over the mega. psygib trying to make his way through, eats a rail, needs to be careful. Snail trail comes out, catches him off guard, forces out the ghost walk, and he has to run for the hills.
Does manage to escape, but oh no, gets caught out again. nosfa so quick through that teleporter. psygib didn't have the ghost walk up yet, so the Brazilian now putting himself in the lead. Good stack advantage too. Yeah, that was a solid rocket from psygib. Very patient, waiting just for the right moment to catch his opponent on the drop down. Killed a lot of his momentum too, but fortunately for him, nosfa still able to persevere, get the frag, and extend his lead by another point.
On the tri-bolt speed bump there. psygib needs to be careful. He's getting tickled aggressively. nosfa has the snail trail as well. Has prime positioning for this heavy, but wow, psygib going in. Wants a little bit more damage, and nosfa gets the hell out of there. Gets actually decent damage, all things considered, with the snail trail. And now perfect angle, just so speedy. And the tri-bolt almost connects. That could have been curtains for psygib.
This is becoming tricky for psygib. 3 minutes left for 2 frags. Plenty of time, especially when there's 2 lights. 2 rails of the spawn would instantly shut nosfa down if he's able to get that first kill, but nosfa's got an iron grip on control right now. Both of the items have been in his favor for several rotations at this point.
Oh, wow, there we go, flawless.
nosfa. Yeah, blazing trail. psygib attempts to defend with those rockets of his, but unable to do even a single point of damage. Now he's gonna make a run for it again. He does have the ghost walk up. Might pop it. Yeah, ultimately doesn't really get much out of it, because nosfa still applying pressure.
Oh, he's not gonna fall for that one. Quick flick of the wrist there with the buckshot. Well done for nosfa, and this one's getting more and more dire here. One more rail can do it. Light armor pickup, tri-bolt, might keep him at base. psygib trying to get this frag and keep his dreams alive, but the buckshot again coming up big for nosfa. 5 frags, and I think that might be the ender. And if that's not, then this certainly might be, but psygib snakes that one away with decent health left over. Is it enough to try and get in on this heavy? Nice. After that rocket, it's gonna be. That's a fantastic combo, and this is a huge opening for psygib.
Bit of a gift for psygib right there. 2 frags in quick succession. nosfa definitely could have avoided at least one of those. But still, just a little over a minute. He's got to chase down a champion that's significantly faster than he is. Doesn't even have the ghost walk up, so he can't commit to that full surprise aggression either. Mega isn't up anytime soon, though. That's an opportunity for psygib. Lands one rail, just needs a little bit more damage. nosfa is playing it safe. Outmaneuvering him right now. Doesn't even want to stick around for the Mega, it seems like.
It's just a thing of beauty. To watch Slash crowd slide around the map is just art.
Yeah.
It is beautiful right now. Ghostwalk comes out as he avoids the rocket. The nosfa is more than happy to just eat up this time. 30 seconds left, 3 frags. It looks impossible for psygib. He might be able to get one if he gets a good rocket off here, but nosfa just playing this to perfection, keeping a wall between him and his opponent. He doesn't want any part of this. He wants to be able to go into map 2 with his head held high with a solid victory over psygib.
And that is indeed what we're headed for. psygib cannot possibly change the outcome of this first map at this point. And that will be nosfa during map 1, putting himself one step closer to what could well be his 5th win of the season.
Wouldn't be bad at all. 5th win of the season, 7th overall in the history between psygib and nosfa himself in the Quake Pro League, 1 map away. We're going to head over to Corrupted Keep here shortly, and it's going to be Ranger versus Eisen. And as we said earlier, at least I did, I'm very interested to see how psygib plays around that turret, what kind of ambush and attacks he has in mind. It'll be very interesting to see. No rail again for those that are new to the show. No rail on Corrupted Keep. There is a secret rail that's hidden under the map. I'm not supposed to tell you, but we'll talk about it later as we take a look at the recap here on Molten Falls.
Think Error is always watching, or you know,
probably banned my account for yeah.
It's true. Signed that NDA about the secret rail under the map. But yeah, map 2. About to kick that off. This is going to be very different. Map 1 was 2 very squishy light champions. A lot of mobility. Also very limited in terms of stack. Map 2 is going to be quite different. Both mediums, so they both spawn with armor. No rail on the map, so no instant hit scan 90 damage to the face. This is going to be a very different beast altogether. nosfa running the Ranger, so he's got that damage reduction on his own rockets, plus the orb, extremely versatile. And psygib playing Eisen, so he's got that turret. First time today that we're seeing the turret in action. It's been a while since I've gotten to cast a game where I feel, or where we've seen Eisen come out and play. So just like you, 40, I'm excited to see what's going to go down in this series.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cool things you could do with Eisen and Timmy. It's not as versatile as the Dire Orb, of course, but it's still very tricky. And as a player playing against that Eisen, you have to always be aware of going through tellies, going around corners, doorways, because you never know. The trap can be sprung immediately, and before you know it, you're getting hit from both sides, and your stack just disappears. So something to definitely be aware of. I think, again, the Ranger probably a little bit better in this matchup, in my personal opinion, given the Dire Orb, but we'll see. psygib definitely has a plan picking this champ, so we'll see if the rockets are as disgusting as they were a couple weeks ago as well, because psygib was hitting dunks for days. It was a lot of hundreds. A lot of hundreds.
That's what we know him for. Those big, meaty rockets, but then again, nosfa, no slouch when it comes to that either. Also a brawler, loves to get up close and personal, and Ranger works better than any other champion when it comes to that. But indeed, 40, I do agree with you. Just the added mobility that the orb offers, I think, can be huge on a map like this. So easy to just throw the orb from heavy basically all the way to mega, or the other way around, and chain together those major items, or you can use it to get from the bottom of the map instantly on top, completely change the course of the fight, get into position for the heavy, get into position for the mega. We've seen a lot of very creative plays with the orb on this map, and so I think that psygib is going to need a very solid plan going into it to be able to counter that, especially after seeing how map 1 went.
I agree completely. The ability to react almost instantaneously is huge going up against Ranger because of that Dire Orb. It is a little bit telegraphed, obviously, because you could see the trajectory of it. But still, if you're not quick enough, we've seen earlier today, it just pounce on your opponent and you're dead. 2 rockets, dead. So, and also the threat of constantly worrying about the burst damage can finish you off in a machine gun, lightning gun fight, whatever. It's very, very scary. So that's something that psygib has to keep in mind, which I'm sure he does. And again, I feel like he has a game plan going in with this Eisen. but it's going to be interesting to see. We're waiting on the players to ready up and sort some stuff out before we jump into map 2. But again, nosfa does have the map advantage, looking to take this one in 2. Have his, I believe, 5th, you said, victory for the season and 7th overall between these two players, as there's a lot of rich history between these two players in the Quake Pro League.
There sure is. Also, I still love the confidence on psygib, and every single time he's asked whether they're ready, he says born. He says, I've been born ready for this matchup, this series, long time in the making, let's do it, let's bring it. So psygib, let's see if he was actually born ready for this one, or if nosfa is going to walk away with at least a 2-map victory.
Love to see a 3rd map decider. We'd love to see the ascension of psygod. We've seen the glasses, the bandana, and the gun before. It's going to take a little bit. He's got to win this one to take us there, but we'll see. I mean, after those hundos that he hit on Corrupted Keep 2-3 weeks ago, it happened. Might happen again, so we'll see here shortly. We are loading up into map number 2. Thanks for being patient, everybody. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day, evening. I think it's not morning anywhere. It might be. Whatever it is, I hope it's fantastic and welcome. Week 8 of the Quake Pro League. Our first featured match, 1 map down, going into the 2nd here between psygib and nosfa. And even after this one, we got 1 more on the way. So a whole boatload of Quake for your Saturday.
Absolutely, and that final game, whew, that's gonna be a spicy one. But before we turn that one, set our sights on Rafa versus Wenger, we've still got plenty of hot action here. nosfa versus psygib, starting it off on nosfa's point of view, running the Ranger over on the heavy side of the map, or the Mega, rather.
A little bit of machine gun damage right off the bat, and here's where he has to be careful. Deals with Timmy nicely and quickly. Things like that, when you're dealing with your opponent and the Timmy, could come back to haunt him. So nosfa has to be good and aware, just like psygib has to be aware of the dire orb plays, and there's one right there, coming in hot and just melting psygib immediately.
nosfa very confident taking that fight because he knew that he could bully his opponent with the LG. Now, psygib, making his way onto the rockets, does get a hold of it, but nosfa punishes him greatly for it. Waiting for the drop down, doesn't get any damage on that one though. Still at least 10 seconds out from the next major item, and neither one of these players is particularly stacked. psygib senses it, smells blood in the water, sacrifices a lot of stack, but does walk away with his first kill of this map.
Ties it at 1, and more importantly, the dire orb has been burned from nosfa. So a little bit of the pressure's off from psygib. He can get up close and personal. He can take those fights without worrying about that quick burst damage. A little bit of plasma lob towards those shards, as nosfa doing everything in his power to get back the orb, which he will have shortly. 2 seconds until it is back locked and loaded. psygib 4 seconds until he gets Timmy back, and the play for heavy armor kind of evades psygib. He might be able to get some exit damage, as he does right there, but nosfa picks that one up. And there's the dire orb play, there's the misdirection. He actually ends up taking it and taking the frag, and that is why the dire orb is so insane, because you get that split second even after it triggers onto a surface, where you can wait a little bit and then telly in, and it's just so crazy. And nosfa's air rockets are even crazier.
Craziest thing to me there was nosfa's patience. psygib threw out the turret, right? It was gonna be less than a second before the turret locked on to nosfa, and even then he just didn't budge. He just slowly walked further and further out into the room, waiting for psygib to make a move for that small armor. nosfa counted on psygib, thinking that he would run away from the turret, but no, he just held his ground. Got himself a wonderful frag out of it too, and now that has snowballed into 2 more kills already.
Coming at you.
Really nice play there from nosfa, denying the light armor shard into the heavy. Doesn't need to worry about Timmy. This is one of those situations. Drops down, it's good machine gun work here. psygib does pick up the Mega. Prioritizing taking care of Timmy is always smart. nosfa taking a lot of damage though. Needs to be careful. 25 HP and he can't get away. psygib, fantastic machine gun work. Good lord.
Good lord indeed. psygib got himself another frag. FG2 probably won't be able to get Mega, but those rockets definitely make up for it. 70, 68. And now the machine gun will clean it up. Doesn't even need the heavy machine gun or the LG. And this already is corrupted keep. Pace of the game, the momentum can change so quickly. One good rocket will do it, and indeed he gets it. psygib taking advantage of nosfa being perhaps a little too greedy, making a move for those health levels. And now, back to a 2-point game.
Oh, big rockets. But no, that one clips and almost goes rocketing off of the map. nosfa has to be a little more careful there. He was looking for big, big damage. Now he has to be careful. Luckily, gets pushed out of the room so he doesn't get that double team from Timmy and psygib. Trying to find some more damage. Only one more rocket left. Does re-up on the LG shards. Cells, rather, as he makes his way to position properly for the heavy. And the time in between, not enough to get back. Might be able to do some exit damage depending on which route psygib takes. And here it is, the trap. The dire orb's available as well. There it is to get behind him. Buckshot. Now it's just topsy-turvy. Nothing matters. psygib is able to take that one.
A messy brawl. That's exactly what we were expecting, and that's exactly what we're getting. A lot of back and forth. nosfa had a nice string where he was in the lead, but now psygib's turning it around. Can he survive long enough? He can. Good use of the turret right there. I think the only reason that psygib survived that, got away with the heavy and the mega too, was because of the turret. Otherwise, nosfa would have absolutely rushed him down. Timmy prevented that from happening, and now psygib all tied up, 6-6. He's got to be careful though. No major items up for another 10 seconds. nosfa, slight stack advantage. Let's grab that.
Wow, just like that.
Just like that. The orb. Straight through him into the shotgun. Both players tender. nosfa first to pick up a little bit of armor. He's actually racing over. psygib might not have had the exact timing on that small armor. Waited around a little too late. Still a chance that he walks away with his life. He's gonna have to do a lot of damage. Yeah, nosfa, good read, good use of the orb. Shut down his only escape. Oh! You felt that one. I was still on psygib's point of view, and the moment he turned left, I clenched because I knew it was gonna happen. Now nosfa again, finding that momentum. I think that is something that's standing out to me for the control is going back and forth, but when nosfa is in control, the frags come quick. They come one after another, almost effortlessly. But when psygib manages to secure the control, it takes him quite a bit longer. It's a lot more calculated. And how he approaches this, here we go. And just as I say that, psygib, as if he heard me, he says, I'm gonna prove that man wrong. Gotta get myself a string of frags as well.
Just manifesting what happens in this game. We have the power flea as it's 8-9. psygib trailing. Trying to tie this one up, has plenty of time. It's just a matter of, oh my god, how crazy nosfa gets. And it's pretty crazy. Unfortunately for him, psygib does steal away the heavy and leaves nosfa extremely weak, and there it is. He knows it. He jumps back in to get that refrag. What a play.
That guy's up, will be taken by psygib. Just doesn't have the heavy machine gun to take a fight from that distance. nosfa contends himself with the small armor pickups, but that's a big rocket. And another one. Heavy machine gun into the orb. The shop slayer does it again. nosfa standing his lead. 2 points ahead of psygib by now, but there is so much time left. 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Oh no, it's too hot to handle. Hard. 11-10, psygib really weak, trying to lob some rockets to do some damage at the mega. nosfa has to be careful with the Timmy. Doesn't take care of it, but still just looking for this damage. psygib hanging by a thread. nosfa looking to get the jump on him, and psygib is just too quick. Grabbing the armor, rocket jumping to 225s. Really nice movement here from psygib, making nosfa guess again and again.
nosfa just holding down that fire button, waiting for the mega to spawn, does walk away with it. psygib trailing by just 1. Good rockets, that's 120 big damage. And another one, a direct to the face just before nosfa walks away with the heavy. couldn't have been timed any better. Psygib
Really good damage
knows
here.
he can't get Mega, just wants some damage, and indeed he does.
Good positioning for this next heavy here. Pace of the game will slow down dramatically here. 1 minute left. Players tied at 11. Machine guns firing from across the map at each other, trying to chip away for this next Mega. nosfa a little bit hesitant to go through the doorway. It might cost him. Big rockets, though. But psygib still dives on that Mega, but now he's stuck behind the statue. No armor. 79 HP. Can he get away? And nosfa actually backs up because he's lacking armor. Both players extremely weak. nosfa grabs the light armor. psygib trying to make a mad dash to the heavy. Is it going to be enough? The rockets won't land, and nosfa has the advantage. Primed for the kill. What a combo, nosfa! You're insane!
psygib though, plasma, brutal, but just not enough. nosfa manages to survive. Now he's in position for the Mega. 20 seconds. psygib needs a frag literally right now. And it's not gonna happen. nosfa can just sit behind the pillar, wait it out, and just keep juking his opponent. Burning away those precious final few seconds left. And there we go. Even gets the frag. With that last rocket of the game, nosfa rises to the occasion and secures map 2, thereby winning the series, but still got one more map to go. Still some cash on the line for psygib to grab.
For sure. 5th win of the season for nosfa, 7th overall in the battle between him and psygib for the official Quake Pro League matches. And more importantly, I feel like the public library he's playing from is very happy with his performance, and everyone probably made a nice golf clap there, as you're supposed to in a public library. So, map number 3 between these two. You gotta wonder if psygib has a little something left in the tank. That was a bit of back and forth, brutal slugfest at times. Both Timmy and the Dire Orb coming up big in their respective times. Timmy, not so much, unfortunately. But we're gonna go into Awoken. It's gonna be Doomslayer versus Athena. Do you see this going either way specifically, Flea?
I feel like it's very hard to bet against Athena on this map in particular. We've seen 2 Athenas on Awoken already, and they have performed exceedingly well. So just looking at the champion picks alone, it's going to be difficult for nosfa this time around, and a lot is going to come down to psygib's mastery of this champion. Because when I think of Athena, there's a few players that come to mind. psygib isn't immediately one of them, right? So I don't right off the bat know exactly how well he's going to be playing Athena in this matchup. On the other hand, nosfa is running Doomslayer, tried and tested. We've seen him on this map countless times. That's just true to the basics. It's basically a comfort zone for any player. Whereas Athena, yeah, there's a lot of room for things to go wrong. So you gotta be so careful. And if psygib doesn't watch out with how he uses those hooks, he can really find himself on the receiving end of a slaughter.
Could be the pain train right now. psygib has to dig deep, try and win this map number 3 to put something on the board, or nosfa's going to get a clean sweep. I'm not sure how many of their previous battles have been clean sweeps either way. I just know that nosfa, as you mentioned, has won the fair share of the battles. As we take a look at the breakdowns between the maps, 8-5, 14-11, in favor of nosfa, looking to add that 3rd. And yeah, the Athena play. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, the nerf, only 2 hooks. Very squishy, but very, very quick champion. And you got to wonder how psygib's going to try and utilize that. Probably play around the rail more so than LG and stuff, but it really depends on the opening damage he gets. Because going toe-to-toe with nosfa and an LG might be brutal as an Athena, but, you know. psygib's going to play how he wants. He can hit some dunks. Yeah. We saw nosfa hitting some dunks of his own, so another slugfest, I wouldn't be upset by it.
Neither would I. Now we've seen on map 1 that railgun was a very important weapon for both of these players. Map 2, Corrupted Keep, obviously didn't have it in play whatsoever, and now it's back. More so, Awoken is one of the easiest maps to deny your opponent access to the railgun. So whoever spawns on that weapon really has a lot of opportunity to kind of hold on to it, right? The only other map that comes to mind is Blood Covenant, where you can kind of do the same. Deep Embrace, yeah, a little less so, but this is really one of those maps where you can keep your opponent from getting a hold of a crucial part of their weapon kit. And depending on who spawns where, that might be something that comes into play. I think we are just going back to lobby, just a quick reset, just to make sure that everything's perfectly in order before we jump into the final map of this series.
Yeah, I think weapon denial is something that's not really talked about as much nowadays, but back in my day, it was absolutely a strategy where the weapon respawn times were completely different. And a lot of people would hate that nowadays. Also, fall damage. Bring back fall damage. It should be 60 damage if you fall from 1 level and 120 if you fall from 2. And if you fall from 3, automatic death. But anyways, I'll talk to Sync about it. I just got these ideas, you know, in my huge brain that I really want to see implemented.
Except for Keel, right? Keel's immune to all fall damage.
Keel's immune to fall damage because he has rocket boots, but he also has grenades that turn into rockets. I just got a bunch of good ideas, you know? Chat losing their mind right now. I'm really into it. And I'm more into map number 3 as we're going to load up. I heard the sound. We're getting in there. Don't worry, chat. We'll finish this one off. And again, we still have one more featured match to go after this one. nosfa working on a 3-0 over psygib. psygib trying to do everything in his power to just grind that gum as hard as he can, dig deep, and win map number 3 to put some money in his pocket.
Let's see if he can manage, right? We talked about it at the beginning. These two have played 10 matches so far. psygib has won 6, nosfa 4 today. That has changed slightly. nosfa getting his 5th win against psygib as part of the Quake Pro League, of course. So let's see what psygib can put up on the final map of this series. Everything appears to be in order right now. If we finish loading in, nosfa versus psygib. nosfa's already secured the overall win, but let's see if psygib can at least claw one map away from his opponent.
Zerk right off the bat. They're gonna meet awkwardly at the rockets, and nosfa gets denied the weapon, and now he might die a terrible, terrible death. psygib just trying to find it, and he can't do it. He can't do it.
Yeah, it looks like psygib definitely could have closed that one out with, say, 50 HP more than what he ended up with, but those final few bullets, they didn't come easy to him, but they came in the end, so all's good. Mega just spawned. nosfa, good position between the two items. Takes away the Mega, lands one shot. That's exactly what he was hoping for. Now it's a race to the heavy. 92 damage on the Tri-Bolt. psygib drops down, and we're all tied up once again, 1-1.
Started an absolute mess in the chat. I love the bug fixes. 1-1 though, as we try and focus up here, chat, on the action at hand. 1 minute in. nosfa lacking rockets, but that's not stopping him from just barreling on through. He wants this fight, and unfortunately, he shouldn't have. psygib takes him down with the buckshot.
psygib set up in the middle of the map. Oh, turns away with the rail a fraction of a second before nosfa shows his face. Now there's around 12 seconds between the items. Mega will be the first to spawn. psygib has got a good rotation working in his favor, but nosfa sneakily positioned on that T portion of the map. psygib has no idea. nosfa still there, still waiting. Hasn't moved a muscle for what feels like 20 seconds now. There we go. He picks up the small armor. psygib's gonna hear that audio cue, knows exactly where his opponent is at, pushes in, LG on LG. There we go, good rail as well. Oh. Doesn't quite get the loop. Oh! It should be a frag nevertheless.
Trying to get that LG beat on him from around the corner and line it up. A little bit of machine gun, trying to finish off. 75 HP left for psygib after a bubble pickup, and he's still reeling. Another one puts him at 100, and oh my god, the rail was almost there. The opportunity was there, but nosfa just missed out. Eating a lot of Tri-Bolt, needs to be careful. Nice rail through the drive-through window there. Waiting down below, trying to get a little bit of rocket damage, a little bit of information before this next Mega as nosfa make sure that psygib doesn't linger too long. Ready to punish.
nosfa working with a sizable stack advantage right now. psygib making himself scarce on the map. Oh, bit of a warning rocket. nosfa just saying, nope, this heavy's all mine. You better stay back. You're gonna be in a world of suffering. And psygib, he's in the lead. He's 2 frags up. Feels like the past minute or so, he's just been playing a very evasive game, but that LG is solid. nosfa sacrificed so much of his stack. He will be able to restack. Mega behind him should be able to make a rather easy move on heavy as well. Yeah, gets both. Clean, uncontested. I mean, that was a bit of a wake-up call. Taking that fight from clearly a superior position stack-wise and still almost ending up dead against psygib's LG.
Yeah, pretty brutal. Psygib's mechanics are fantastic. A lot of people, you know, Sirius has the best LG in the game, and I'm pretty sure he does, but psygib, he's got an LG on him too, so you do have to worry. Is nosfa a little bit more respectful? Does still trail by 2 frags, 4 minutes in. Able to back up onto that heavy. Really nice mobility. The nail gun jump into the double jump to get from above heavy to the rail at will. nosfa again, just trying to play sneaky, catch psygib off guard. Surprise! There's the rocket into the rail and almost has the opportunity for another one, but the hook comes up big for psygib.
I think that's the way that nosfa kind of has to play this now. The hooks are giving psygib so much mobility that if nosfa is just going to try and come at him, you know, in the traditional standard routes, it's going to be very difficult for him. But that's why he's going for these rocket jumps. But that one, a little too predictable. psygib waiting with the LG out. Oh, nosfa.
Wow.
Comes out on top. psygib perhaps hoping to be able to do a little more of the shaft than he managed. As heavy is about to spawn in just a few seconds. Oh, now psygib caught in a bad spot. Rail misses once, twice. nosfa unable to get the kill shot in. That would have tied up the game.
Another clean mega for nosfa here. Out of Tri-Bolt, has a couple more rockets left, but needs to be careful. Needs to re-up here as he makes his way over, tries to chase psygib a little, adding the pressure, but also re-upping, and there's some good LG. He's gonna make the jump over, but the LG from psygib will push him down and misses with that. Unfortunately, that rail won't connect. psygib very fortunate there. Still very, very weak. nosfa needs to be careful about this play on Mega. It could be free damage for psygib. There's the Berserk. He's gonna go for the fisticuffs. Nope, he's gonna cancel. Hug the wall a little bit, play it safe, and I like that. Why not? Big rail. But the LG, the push, he's taking the bubbles as well to stack up, and this could be a frag, and it is psygib. Wow, what a play.
That was solid. After being on the back foot for such a long time, psygib. Oh no! nosfa!
My God.
Just dipping his toes over the edge, and that was all that psygib needed to send him straight up the air for a beautiful, gorgeous float. And the 5th frag of the map for psygib.
Just missing out on that rail, and yes, that was absolutely gorgeous. Expect that in the recap for the week. 5-2 now as nosfa's gonna push in. Fades away with a rail instead after getting met with some LG. 3 minutes now, and this is big right here. psygib, oh, look at the movement from nosfa, avoiding all damage. That was pretty.
psygib just constantly expecting him to drop down, I think, but then the double jump just kept him on top of the ledge just a little longer. Excellent dodges right there. Now nosfa, 2 minutes left. Rather 2 frags in 3 minutes. Perfectly doable. Yes, psygib outspeeds him, but few of those rails, that's all he needs. Again, nosfa. I feel like that's what,
really
the
nice.
3rd rail that would have gotten him a kill in the past 2 minutes or so. Unable to connect when it matters the most.
my
And now
God.
he's losing so much. Oh, yeah, nosfa, you can tell by the face cam, he's frustrated with that one. That should have been a clean frag for him. And to add insult to injury, Ordy, is that psygib got a really good spawn just on top of the railgun and the heavy.
That one hurts. Shoddy Pippin really let nosfa down on that one, but still, 2 frags, 2 minutes. He's got to shake that off and do his best to try and get back into this because the opportunity is still there. Nice movement with Doomslayer. Ooh, and he's missing these rails, Flea, as you mentioned. It's costly. It's the fadeaway, though, but now, even after all of that, both players... Same stack, and now here comes the Berserk. He's gonna Superman his way over to the Mega, and I love that movement, but again, he's gotta cut him off. psygib waiting, takes a big Hondo, almost gets clipped to the rail, and there it is. nosfa very patient with that, doesn't want to force it now, dives back in to grab the Mega, and now he's got full map control. psygib does have a rail, but this is all the nosfa show. The ability to take this back to a sudden death is all in his hands right now. Minute 10 with full map control.
nosfa, he's got all the weapons he needs. Hooks are up. So he's got to contest with those first. Gonna set up around the center area of the map. Mega is up. Gonna leave it be. This is risky. Oh, psygib. Yeah. Just once again. Collecting solid ground in the center of the map, and now nosfa trying to starve him of resources. Heavy is up, I think he's gonna go for it still. And then probably intends to launch a full-on assault. Firebolt whiffs. Out comes the Berserk, the punch falls just short. Oh no, psygib actually with a slight stack advantage. One more ray will do it. Can he find the angle? 10 seconds left. He's gotta be careful of those rockets though, psygib. Around 60 points of health, but it doesn't seem like nosfa's gonna find him. Nope. Falls just short, and that makes it so that psygib denies the overtime and secures himself at least one map in that series. Could have very well been a 3-0 for nosfa. Few missed opportunities, especially towards the end, but still, psygib managed to secure the lead, held on to it, played a solid game, and got a deserved map win.
Really, really close near the end, but psygib kept it cool and was able to take that one and steal that one away. No 3-0 for nosfa, but he does win the series in the first 2 maps, so congrats to him. Congrats to psygib for bouncing back. But a fantastic set overall. I mean, again, rich history between these two. That's the 11th game now. Book it officially in the Quake Pro League. nosfa gets the best of psygib, though. That's 7-4 by my count, Flea, in terms of their history together.
I think so, yeah, indeed. Now, 40. One series remains. And I think it is the one that we have all been waiting for. Wenger versus Rafa. The number 1 on the global leaderboards versus the number 2 are facing off.
I think it's a good one. And I feel like people might be excited, but I can't really tell. Yeah, I don't know. But again, shouts to nosfa for taking this one over psygib. Big victory, and I think that was 5th overall victory in the league this season for nosfa. And again, 7th in terms of the matchup between these two in the official Quake Pro League. 8-5, 14-11, 5-6, as you take a look at the map breakdown right there for the scores. But you're absolutely right. This was our first featured match. We still have one to go. There will be no interview because we're not allowed without an adult. So sorry to let everybody down, but it's all my fault. Send that email to my inbox that I posted earlier. Feel free. I don't check it anyway. So you could send me whatever you like. But yes, that's it. 6 series is down, and we have one more on the way. It's going to be Wenger versus Rafa. We're going to take a quick break, caffeinate up. We'll be back because this last one's going to be an absolute monster. See you soon. More Quake on the way.
Where?